Good.
here.
That's a little weird. There's a reason that they tilt it like that, so they can see the human.
There we are. We are back live here on our world famous Jiggy Jaguar radio broadcast, coast to coast and border to border on iHeartRadio and also AMFM 247.com. Tune in, iTunes, and of course Radio Loyalty, iHeartRadio as well. We have got a great guest with us today. From time to time, we'll let the guests do their own introductions, just in case I miss anything. And like I've said many times before, I'm kind of an idiot. So jump in there and give me a brief introduction on yourself, my friend. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Now, is George on, or is it just me?
I'm not sure. I called George. I don't know if he's here or not.
Anyway, you might have an issue to deal with. But anyway, hey, this is Eric Owens, also known as Bass Thrasher Owens, bass and backing, screaming, and vocals of Killing Tyranny. It's a true pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for taking time out to have us and talk about Killing Tyranny and just having us, man. Thank you.
So tell me how the band got started. How did Killing Tyranny get started?
Killing Tyranny, in the 80s, there was a great thrash metal force that happened in Detroit known as George Gregory. And then, he was in various bands there. Then he moved out to LA, and he was in a couple of bands here. And just to keep it short, there was a few different times where the bands broke up. And then George was finally like, I'm just going to have to write my own stuff. So now we're on the third album with George. And it's some of the, I'm a great fan of Overkill. I mean, the Big Four, of course, because I grew up during that time.
Yeah.
But also, it's actually the Big Five because there's Overkill too. But to me, it's just some of the music that's hit me, like it just hits really close to home, being a fan of Overkill and real thrash metal, and to hear George Gregory and the thoughts that he put into Killing Tyranny, and then just getting to be a part of it. It's really cool. It's like the live perform, like you hear the recording is one thing, and it's great. I love those recordings. I run to them all the time. But the live show is just something else. It's sort of a religious experience. You got to watch out. You might teleport to a different place when you hear it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We have got a great band with us today. Killing Tyranny joins us here on our broadcast, coast to coast and border to border. So tell me a little bit about the social media. How do we find you guys on social media, websites, all these things?
Well, I'm George Gregory here. I'm joining the call here. If you don't mind, you can hear me.
Awesome. Right? Yes, we've got you, my friend. Go ahead.
Excellent. So, basically, yes. Basically, you can find us on Facebook, of course, www.facebook.com/Killing Tyranny. You can find us at www.killingtyrannytheband.org, .net, or .com.
Awesome.
We have
You've got them all, baby. That's good. That's good, because I don't know why more bands and more artists and more people who do this crap don't do that. So that's great.
Yeah, it's about probably about the money, or maybe the .com is not there, but the net is, or whatever. I just happen to be fortunate enough to when I actually went through the domain process. All three were there. I figured I'd do all three. I locked them all together, so no matter which one you get, it takes you right to the site.
Awesome. Killing Tyranny. So tell me about your musical influences, musical heroes. Both of you guys, I'm sure, have a long list, so go ahead and jump in there.
Absolutely. Well, the earliest memories I have, and it's kind of comical, but the earliest memories I have is Elvis Presley, being 5 and 6 and 7 years old, listening to Elvis and then the Beatles. But of course, when I really started getting into music, the first band that just blew me away was Zeppelin, and Led Zeppelin. I was really into Led Zeppelin, and later came Judas Priest and Iron Maiden and Queensryche and Halloween. And those were the bands that made me want to sing.
Awesome.
And yeah, that's kind of who I emulated. Was start off with Halford, of course, and Dickinson, and then it just grew on. When I heard Jeff Tate for the first time, I was pretty floored, and knew I wanted to sing and try to develop those kind of notes. So that's kind of what really turned me on. And then later, of course, I was into Megadeth and some of these other bands that were, a little more thrashy and stuff. So I try to, in some of my influences and what I brought forward and ideas that I bring forward, I try to integrate a lot of that into it.
Fantastic. So, what about your influences and musical heroes, my friend?
Yeah, a lot of the same. Where it's everything that George mentioned, and also, but for me, I think even though the chord that resonated with me the most when I was a kid was going to be Black Sabbath and Ozzy, and a lot of that also. And I don't know. It's like the first two albums. It's like all the songs. It's like, man, it's like I wish I would have wrote that song. But it's okay. I'll play the song. I'm happy to play it. No, it's really good. I love the music, and to me, it's like something that I can listen to every day, and it doesn't get old. Well, especially when you got to work on it really well. You got to have it ingrained in your soul, and if you're going to show off while you're doing it, you really got to have it down because you don't want to look like a dork. Well, you're going to be a dork, but you don't want to be creating erroneous notes when you're looking like that.
You want to be creating erroneous notes. That's fantastic. So, Killing Tyranny. Give me the details behind this name and everything.
Well, basically, of course, tyranny being something that nobody wants to be dealing with, and I know there's many things going on in this world today that you can classify as tyranny.
Yeah.
Whether it's government or whether it's people causing hardships on other people or different things. And basically, the whole concept came about where I was in a discussion with someone, and we were going back and forth over some band names and some different things. And we have a song out on one of the in between albums. It wasn't really an album; it was like a little EP thing we did. It was called Spewing Treason. That was actually going to be the name of the band. Because somebody had often said to me that a lot of my lyrics borderlined on treason, I guess, in the sense that if you speak out against the government or speak out against social issues, then you're treasonous. And I don't necessarily agree with that, because treason would be like turning your back or doing something on your country in particular. But I had somebody trying to tell me that at the time, and I found it kind of comical. So I came up with the spewing treason thing and kind of did all that. And then eventually, bouncing those ideas around, came up with tyranny was, kind of had like a tyranny was bad kind of thing, and kind of came up with Killing Tyranny. It kind of bounced back and forth between me and somebody I was talking to. And I came up, they said something tyranny, and I said Killing Tyranny, and I just kind of stuck. And I went into studio in 2013 and started what is the Martyr CD. That's our first CD. Came out in 2015.
It's a great CD, amazing. For religious experience. It is, I'm not just joking, it is. It's freaking neat.
So, where can we find your music? Where can we buy the music, get involved with the music, everything?
Pretty much everywhere. We're on Amazon. We're at your Google Play stores. You can find us Spotify, Apple, pretty much anywhere. All you have to do is just a search of Killing Tyranny. It should pop up pretty much everything. Our first CD was released in 2015. It was called Martyr. Actually got some really good reviews and stuff overseas. A lot of stuff in the UK and stuff, and picked up by some magazines that did some really good interviews with us and stuff. And that's what started the whole process, because when that bounced back to the United States, we were getting hit up by promoters, and at that time I really didn't have much of a band. I kind of did the recording with studio musicians, and kind of like a pay-for-play type thing. And when I started realizing there was a buzz around the band, I was already starting the second CD, which is called Church of the Twisted Prophet. Church of the Twisted Prophet dropped in 2018. But like I said, Martyr was taking off just a little bit, getting some notice and stuff, and we were getting some buzz. So I kind of reached out, and I was fortunate enough to find Eric Owens. He's our bass player. Scott Mahler, he's our guitar player, who's not with us. Jason Bonsagnu is our guitar player, and Mr. Bill Giannatasio, he is our drummer. But I put all these people together, and we started playing shows. We started doing did like a little Mexico mini tour. It was really, really cool. Got to meet, Gene Simmons and some of these really big icons of, rock and roll. And Don Dokken, and there was a bunch of people at this festival in Mexico called Northside. The place was just crawling with everybody who's anybody, and we had a fortunate enough time to meet these individuals. Met Deftones guitarist, just met a whole bunch of people backstage, and was just very fortunate. It gave us a good experience to travel and start to learn. It's one thing to be playing locally and maybe a couple states. It's another thing when you start going international, and it was a great experience. And actually speaking with Gene Simmons about some of that stuff, and he understand it wasn't, he didn't sit down with us for 2.5 hours, but he did give us a good 20-30 minutes of like back and forth questions.
Wow.
So as I understand, that's pretty impressive. So because I don't know much about Gene other than he's in KISS, and he certainly I did growing up 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, 9 years old, I was in KISS too. But as time went on, my musical taste started progressing. But learning that aspect of the thing was really good, or the road and stuff. So then when we came back from the Mexico mini tour, we were working on Church of the Twisted Prophet. We dropped Church of the Twisted Prophet in 2018, and that's some of the stuff that a lot of the people that are aware of us are actually hearing and are familiar with. And that's some of the stuff that basically started getting us on the map in the United States a little bit. And it's been really a great opportunity to travel and do Oklahoma and some of these other bigger festivals that we've done.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Too, without a doubt, it's been fun. So we've had a good time, and it's really opened some doors for us. Social media is pretty much everything, because being a smaller entity trying to get your name out there and stuff. If you didn't have the social media, you probably wouldn't be able to get out there. Years ago, I don't know if you weren't discovered by these, A&R reps and different things that are out there, you didn't get heard. And we're fortunate enough to get heard. Platforms like you and others that have brought us on board to bring us into their rotation, start playing the stuff. Fortunate enough, again, thank you for having us here today.
Oh yeah.
This just really helps us to get the word out there and get our music out there. And we're working right now on our third CD, which is The Awakening. Of course, with this COVID thing, it's kind of thrown a monkey wrench in things a little bit. We put out this new single that dropped from The Awakening. It's called Dog and Pony Show. And I'm not sure if that's the one that you're familiar with, or exactly what kind of got your attention with us. But we just dropped Dog and Pony Show last month. And we were hoping to be a little further along with the CD, but the COVID thing slowed us down. We're hoping that The Awakening will be out by September of this year.
Fantastic. So you guys putting all this together and getting all this music out there and making all this work, where do you see what are some of your goals for the band?
Well, I think the reality is that if we can find ourselves in positions where people like our music and want to see us, and we can travel, and be able to do music and what we love, a little more full time than we do right now, then that would be, the goal in the meantime. But of course, I think everybody has aspirations and wants to, blow up or whatever the case may be, and be everywhere and be in demand everywhere. And I'd be, lying through my teeth if I said to you that, it's no big deal, because, yeah, it is.
Just a little bit.
Yeah,
that's
if
awesome.
That doesn't happen. I mean, we're realistic, and I understand. It's not like if something like that doesn't happen, it's the end of the world. I do enjoy doing music. It's more about the music than it is trying to be famous. And I'm really just trying to get the music out there. And I believe that a lot of what I write has a message, and for the majority of it, I think the message is pretty good, because it's really just unity, standing together and stopping the division that divides us, whether you in politics, left or right. Really not buying into the whole left-right thing. I have some radical, probably what would be considered a little more radical ideas than most people, and I don't really believe that there's a two-party system, since basically Dallas, 1 p.m. when JFK was taken out. I'm not really sure. I think it's a dog and pony show.
Yep.
And I think basically that they promote the two most polarizing individuals, and those individuals keep us apart, people. And that...
Right about that.
Yeah. Well, as long as we're fighting amongst each other, we're not paying attention to what they're doing, are we?
So this single that we've got here that we're going to be playing here in a few moments. We've got Killing Tyranny with us today. They join us live here on our broadcast, coast to border on iHeartRadio and also AMFM247.com. Dog and Pony Show is what we're going to be playing here in a few moments. So take me through this, the writing process and everything.
Yeah, basically, Jason Bonsagnu, he's not with us today. He's our rhythm guitar player, and he's also does some leads and stuff. He basically had this riff that he was playing around in the practice room, and it was something that was really catchy. And I basically said to him, that goes along with something that I've been writing in my head, like a melody that I have in my head, and it was Dog and Pony Show. And the Dog and Pony Show, again, kind of goes back to the reference where I believe that, there's not too much of a difference between the two parties other than the fact that the ideals that they want to separate us with are far this way and far that way. I think most people are a little more down the middle. Yeah, we want to help people when they need help. No, we don't want to give away the store. So I think most people are a little more down the middle, and they're just so polarizing, and they love to kind of do that. So the whole song itself kind of started out as that process, writing the lyrics and stuff like that, and then I do a lot of the arranging as far as a guitar player or somebody will come forward with an idea or something, and basically as I have something coming, it's kind of culminates with counting out the measures, counting out the spaces, and figuring out exactly where we want to be at what time, and then oftentimes just like Dog and Pony Show, there's this part after the two verses that goes into the solo, and it's a major timing change. It's a drastic change, and sometimes you want to do that. You want to shift gears real quick, and that's something that we kind of did in the song. So it turned out really good. We're very excited about it. There's a really good reception about it so far. I mean, it's only been out for a couple weeks, and it's really getting some buzz, and it's being played in Australia. And we've been fortunate enough to be number one on one of the radio stations for a couple weeks. We just now dropped out of the number one for this week, the third week. But it was nice to be there for a moment, certainly, and we're certainly humbled by anybody who's taken the opportunity to play our music because, again, we're nothing without you.
Well, we are going to play this track, and I appreciate you joining us today, gentlemen, and thanks for coming on, guys.
Well, thank you for having us. We really appreciate the opportunity to come on in and speak with you and speak to your listeners and just really get the opportunity to showcase who we are and kind of what we'd like to project ourselves as and what we'd like to say in our music. So it really means a lot to us. Thank you.
Definitely. Well, we're going to play the song, and I appreciate you joining us. Thanks, fellas.
Excellent. Thank you.
Appreciate it. There they go, Eric and George, and that's Killing Tyranny, and it's right now.
To pay.
There it is. Fantastic. It's Killing Tyranny. And it's here on your world famous Jiggy Jaguar radio broadcast. We are going to have more.